Anthony, won't you get us started, please?
Hey Chin, hope you're doing well. I guess just to start, what did you guys noticed about Ole Miss? What do you like about them, and just kind of how hard are they to scout so far?
Um, Pretty much similar to a lot of the teams in this league. This league is unforgiving. It's got like an NBA feel to it. Every game is going to be a high level game. There's no days off. There's no easy challenges. There's no easy wins. You're going to have to earn everything you get in this league. And Ole Miss is one of those teams that are really tough. They recruit to their system. Another game of which we're going to have to um, be more physical than them. We're going to have to obviously uh, do a better job on the offensive glass. And they're systemic in terms of their motion, and everybody is a weapon. They can go one on one from 1 through 5, and so they have a balanced attack in terms of their offense because of their style of play. So it's going to be a challenge for us, but for me and for us as a staff and our team, no matter whether you win or lose, it's always about the response. So I'm excited about our response. I was excited about our response in our first possession of practice. I'm as equally as excited for our first day, the first possession of practice today, and so on and so forth. So. Um, just a challenge, another challenge, and we got to be more prepared for this one than we were last time out.
And you mentioned the physicality and the rebounding there. What kind of went wrong in that regard against Tennessee, and how have you guys kind of tried to address that in practice lately?
We emphasized it, but I think that now we understand, and so the things that we emphasize, I think we're able to now have their attention in terms of, uh, you know, we got enough stops. They still shot under 40%, and um, we just didn't obviously capitalize on when we made them miss securing the rebound. And so we are doing a better job, if not emphasizing it even more, which we did extremely, how well of an offensive rebounding team Tennessee was. And I think that now our antennas are up and we're prepared for this challenge.
And then last one for me for now, but I know John L was kind of coming off his wrist injury before the Tennessee game, but then he shoots 0 4 against Tennessee. Just how do you guys try to get him going? And is there, anything that, maybe you're trying to do differently with him as you, I guess, try to get him going?
Yeah, we're gonna coach is gonna try to do some things to get him going, but obviously, being out for 2, 3 weeks and that's a tough game to come back and rehab against, right? When it's a very high level game. He wasn't prepared. I don't think anyone in that situation would just come out and be lights out and shoot lights out and play lights out after having so much time off and coming back into that game. And so we're trying to work him back into what we're doing, and we're going to try to do as much as we can to get him some easy looks. Not that all of his attempts are threes. We think that John L is a scorer that can score on all three levels. So we're trying to help him, but he's putting in the work to help himself. So it'll happen. He'll play better. He'll come through. We have all the confidence in the world in him.
Jackson.
Hey Chin, another offensive rebounding question for you, but the you guys are blocking a lot of shots this season. You blocked 10 against Tennessee, but is that something that maybe at times has taken away from your defensive rebounding, where the big guys are a little maybe too aggressive on those blocks and leaving some guys unboxed out down there?
No, we want to protect the rim, and we want to be one of those teams that do a good job at protecting the rim. But there's a two-part to that, and it's called, whether you in basketball terminology, crack up or crack down. And so um, bigs help guards, and guards help bigs. So if we have a big that rotates over to block a shot, that means that one of our perimeter guys have to either crack up or crack down to help them and come up with that offensive rebound. if it is blocked, if it is tipped, if we even make it a tough two and they miss it, and our big deterred that shot or had something to do with that attempt, then we have to crack up, crack down, and come up with that rebound. And so that is a point of emphasis of ours, and our guards got to rebound down or rebound up, and that's what crack up or crack down mean. So, but we don't want to not block shots. I don't think we say that, no, let's not block shots and let's not protect the basket. No, let's do our job as a whole, right? Let's finish the series. Whether we rotate over and block a shot or challenge a shot, then we must crack up, crack down to complete the series.
I gotcha. You know, it seemed like there early, just some missed opportunities, especially against Tennessee. You know, Billy missed a bunny, maybe a couple, and it just seemed like a couple things didn't go your way. When you went back and watched the film, did some of that like stick out? Like maybe we weren't as far off as the final score indicates, or you know, what have you maybe noticed most from going
We
back?
don't think we're that far off. We don't think we're that far off. We don't feel like that was us in terms of our output that we gave. That wasn't us, and so that wasn't even a mediocre version of us. And we're gonna emphasize that we have to be us in terms of our competitiveness, our spirit, our fight, all of that stuff every single night out in this league. That wasn't us. And so, yeah, Billy missed a layup, a lob dunk that he normally makes. He's a high athletic kid, and so he normally makes that again. That was an experience that we want to, you have to have amnesia, right, in this league. And so some of those things we want to forget, and some of them we want to learn from. So you either win or you learn. And we want to learn from some of the experiences in that game, and some of that stuff we want to forget, and we want to chalk it up as that's not our team, that's not who we are. And so again, excited about showing who we are the next time we get an opportunity to play, which is Wednesday against Ole Miss.
Last one from me. I know Merle, Murray, and Padilla. There's that three guard. I mean, what about that group makes them difficult, and how do they work well with each other?
Very dynamic. They run a system of which there is no absolute. There's not a pattern that you can say they're going to absolutely do this or they're going to absolutely do that. A lot of teams have that kind of system where you know what it is that they're going to do. These guys run motion and it's all random and it's all different. And so while they're moving and cutting and screening, because you're going to have to guard every kind of screen there is in the game of basketball. There's going to be pin downs, there's going to be flex screens, there's going to be rip screens, there's going to be flare screens, there're going to be staggers and doubles. And while all of that stuff is going on, these guys do a great job of getting you to occupy against all of the screening actions, and then that gives them an opportunity to go one-on-one. And all three of them can break off at any time and go one-on-one. But they're not the only ones, right? The four men that they play, they can also go one-on-one. When they put Blakefield at the five or at the four, he can also go one-on-one. So everybody is a weapon in their offense, and they do a good job of finding those opportunities to go one-on-one. Those guys are probably at the top of the scouting report for that. And so we got to do a good job of understanding the main thing is that the ball scores. While they're doing all this screening and all this moving and cutting and all of that, we got to be cognizant of where the ball is and that the ball scores. And so that we won't leave anybody on an island by himself and this becomes a one-on-one game.
Connor.
Hey, Coach, appreciate you talking to us. Going back to what you said, you said you liked what you saw from the first possession in practice. I know Cal said that he had individual meetings with guys earlier this week. Just what have you seen from this team and some of the players in terms of their mindset after that loss? And are you confident that they can kind of, make it to where this loss doesn't turn into 2 or 3 down the road?
Absolutely not. We never want to let one game beat us twice. We've won 7 out of our last 8 games, so we're not gonna just act like that stuff didn't happen, that we aren't who we are, right? We're a good basketball team. We had a bad night, bad day at the office, and so we want to take what we can from that so that that doesn't happen again, so that we can be better the next time out. again, it's about the response. Whether you win or lose, it's always about the response. And we have fighters in our locker room, and I'm excited again for practice today. We had a hell of a day of practice yesterday. And if yesterday is anything like today, then we'll be prepared to fight on Wednesday.
And then one of the guys who actually played pretty well, I thought, was DJ Wagner. You know, when everyone else was struggling, he kind of stepped up, especially early to get y'all going. Just what have you seen from him, and how big is his experience and talent level going into SEC play?
Yeah, so we're used to he's used to and we're used to playing in those kind of games. From where we come from, every game is someone else's Super Bowl, so there was always like a t-shirt night or white out or orange out or blue out or green out. Like we're used to playing in those atmospheres and where there's guys camping out outside and students camping out outside to get in the arena. And what we would do, we would normally when we land, we would take our team by what we call a tent city, where you see the kids outside and pizza and they're sleeping overnight in tents to get in the game. So DJ has some experience in that. We want DJ to be aggressive. But his aggressiveness again has to impact winning, and that's with him. That's with the dude. That's with all of our guys. It's got to impact winning. So he had a good individual game, and we want him to continue to have his feet on the gas, continue to be aggressive, continue to show that those atmospheres don't phase him, and everybody else will feed off of that energy. But at the end of the day, it's got to result in winning, and so we need him to have another one of those games. But at the end of it, we need to win.
Ty.
Hey, Coach. You were talking about like a mistake Billy made earlier and talking with him. I know he had that turnover at the end of half. With him, Carter, and Boogie, do you guys maybe talk to freshmen different than, say, DJ, Big C, or some of the other guys? Or is it all the same type of coaching when it comes to mistakes and correcting them?
Our alertness and our awareness is shared throughout our locker room. It's not that we uh, single Billy out or Carter out or Boogie out. Sometimes we do have individual conversations with them in terms of what it's going to be, what it's going to be like, and those guys understand. They get the message, right? When they see us as a staff, how particular we are, how we're emphasizing certain things to the utmost, or where it's a nuisance, right? Ad nauseum, we're doing it. And so hopefully they understand the importance of it. Um, yeah, that turnover at the end of the half that Billy had probably would have put us down, I think 13 at that point, could be in a whole different ball game going into the second half. That was a we felt like that was a possession that we would have wanted to capitalize on. But no one possession is part of winning or losing a basketball game. I think it's a compilation of a different multiple things happen in the game that adds up to why you win or lose a game. And so that was good experience for Billy. I think that he'll be better the next time. And again, that was like our first true road game in that kind of environment. And there's no excuse. We got to be better, and we'll be better the next time out. But right now, I think the most important part is us beating Ole Miss.
Ty, you got a follow up?
Yeah, Coach, I know you've been in Lexington. I know that you mentioned the first game here. I guess my question is, like, Cal's kind of alluded to it, and as of other coaches, like, how much more difficult is this league? I know Joe Lenardi's got 12 teams in relative to years past. I think it was 8 in last year, but like just to compare what this terrain looks like to in the past.
It's a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging every night. Um, and we're going to have thick skin. We're going to have stick-to-itiveness. We're going to have perseverance. We're going to have to take some licking and keep on ticking, so to speak. And so, but we're going to dish out our fair licks. We're not. We're not phased by the competition in this league. We understand it, and we know what we're up against. I think, and I don't have a say, but I feel like this is the best league in the country, and it's probably the best league in the history of college basketball, so to speak. This is one of those leagues at this time that is very, very, very tough, very, very challenging from top to bottom. and so we gotta find our way to persevere and fight to get wins.
Daniel.
Hey, Coach. Ole Miss has one of the best turnover margins in the country. I guess what goes into preparing for a team that's so active and causes so many turnovers?
Um, you got to secure the basketball with shot selection and turnovers. And one of our big things is uh, fighting against live ball turnovers. If we can turn the ball over trying to create to get a shot from one of our teammates, that's a different kind of turnovers. We can accept some of them. We're not a high turnover team, so we don't worry about it. We kind of uh, turn it over right at about the number that we want it to be. We don't want to be at 16, 17, 18 plus turnovers. We want to be 12, 13 turnovers, and that's about where we want to be. And so uh, they don't necessarily press. What they do is they pretty much switch a lot, and they rely on their personnel. And so we can't allow for their switching to allow for us to be tentative and to second guess. We want to stay on the attack and make plays for one another and not have a lot of live ball turnovers. Those are the ones that we can't defend against. We want to make teams play against our set defense, which is one of the best in the country. And so if we can do that and not have live ball turnovers, we'll be fine.
And then
Hutch.
does it help that?
Go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
No, you're all good. Does it help that maybe Boogie has finally seen SEC play for the first time instead of just talking about it? And was he under the weather at all? There's some rumors.
I'm not sure if he was under the weather. So that would be for our medical staff. Boogie was in uniform. He was ready to go. We expect to receive his best. So I don't know if he was under the weather or anything like that. But for him to have one game under his belt, he got a lot more left. Like it's this that was just one game. He there's going to be challenges every single night out, and so we have to prepare him to work as hard as the challenges that he faced in the game, so that the games become a byproduct of the work that he put in throughout the week leading up to those games. That nothing surprises him.
Hutch.
Yeah, I just got one coach. Coach Cal said he was going to have those individual meetings with guys on Monday. Is that something he does after every game, or is it maybe just he picks and chooses when to do those individual meetings, and kind of how are the players receptive to those meetings?
Very receptive because they're used to it. So he does it when we didn't have games, when we were before the season started. He does it throughout the season. That's just keeping a pulse on the locker room and having a rapport and continue to nurture the relationships of your players. Like that had nothing to do with whether we won or lost a game. He does it a lot throughout the course of the season.
Anthony.
Yeah, one of the things that Coach Calipari had mentioned post game at Tennessee was the free throw shooting. Just how do you, I guess, go about fixing that? Is there any way that you kind of try to, fix that? Is it just kind of like the shots just need to fall? How do you kind of go about addressing that?
Free throws shooting is all mental. We shoot free throws every day. Every day in practice, we shoot free throw. Every individual workout, there's free throws. We shoot free throws every single day. So it's all mental. You got to be tough mentally when you step up to the line, and you got to have the fortitude to make your free throws. And so we're not gonna. We're just gonna continue to practice our free throws, and when guys get up to the line, we expect for them to make them.
And then Chris Beard's teams always have, pretty stout physical defenses. And Tennessee obviously has the number one rated defense in the country for Ken Palm's, I guess, numbers. Just what does seeing a defense like Tennessee's do for you guys, especially right out of the gate going forward to SEC, going forward through SEC play?
I feel like we got some good looks. I don't think we made them at the clip we would have obviously wanted to make them against their defense. We were able to create some open looks for our guys, and we took those shots, and we were pleased with some of the shots that we took. And hindsight after a game, you watch the film. Obviously, there's always some stuff you felt like you'll feel like you can do better. I'm sure Coach, when he watched the game, he wanted to do some other things, but that's always the case. And Coach is going to continue to put us in the right positions to get the best shots and create good shots for each other. And it's up to us as individuals to make those shots. Mississippi and this league, you got probably 6 or 7 teams that are in the top 25 Ken Palm defenses in the country. So it's just the nature of the league that we're in. Ole Miss is another good defensive team. We're a good defensive team, and but we're used to playing against those kind of teams or playing against ourselves even. And when we get our shots, again, I know that guys are waiting in line to get the opportunity to have those same shots. And this time, we have confidence in our guys that they'll make them.
Connor.
Yeah, Coach, last one for me. I was just wondering, y'all have coached in Bud Walton before. It's the SEC home opener tomorrow. Y'all have coached on the opposing bench prior in some big games in Bud Walton. What kind of environment are you expecting tomorrow, and kind of what's that going to be like for you guys coaching an SEC game on the home bench?
That's a good question, a great question, probably one of the better questions. I was hoping to get that one because we need for that building to feel like it's felt the times that we've come in here now. We need the fans to support the Razorbacks the way that they've supported them. What we've seen when we were the opposing team, and now we're family and we're Razorbacks, and so we wanted to feel the way that it's felt when we've come in here as an opposer, as the enemy. That we need the building rocking. We need the building turned all the way up to help our men feed off of that energy. And so I've seen it before. I've witnessed it before when you can't even call out. And I'm normally one of the loudest persons in the building on the locker room, on the sideline. And our guys hear me when I scream out different calls and I scream out different schematics. Everybody hears me. And I've been in this building before where I have not been heard. And so that is what I need for that building, what we need for that building to feel like.
Ty, do you have another question?
Coach, I guess to go off here, I think Jackson asked you about the guards earlier for Ole Miss, and Anthony just referred to Chris Beard. What makes Chris Beard a difficult coach to game plan against when you have to play these guys either once or multiple times a year?
Again, the motion, right? He's been running that motion since Texas Tech. Probably kind of got a little bit of that from the late great Bobby Knight, right? That motion is unpredictable, and the freedom of movement, cutting, screening, right, is hard to scheme against, right? It's hard to scout. It's hard to put a scout team through that, right? Because there is no absolute. There's not a. There is a couple tendencies and patterns, but I won't. But they're for the most part, it's random, and so when you have a random base offense that you got to guard the whole game, you got to trust your rules, your principles. You got to be connected. You can't break. You got to be alert. You got to know that you're going to get screened, but at the same time, you got to watch the ball because here comes a guy driving it. And so they got playmakers all over the floor with 1 through 5. Their fives are like fours, and their fours are like threes. And so when you have multiple guys on the floor that can dribble, pass, and shoot, it's tough to defend against.
And you were just alluding to the crowds that you faced inside of Bud Walton Arena, and not that you didn't have that in Rupp and Lexington, but what kind of crowds, not that you just expect this week, we'll see what the weather does, but just the rest of the season with some of the marquee opponents that will step foot inside of Bud Walton Arena?
I have always said, when people ask me, uh, now I love being a Razorback, and I'm where my feet is. I love it here, and this has been a great experience for us. But I've always said this, whether I was somewhere else or here. Now, this to me has always been the loudest building in the league. I truly believe that, and I need for that vibe. We need for that feel. We need for it to live up to what I've always thought, and I'm expecting for it to be the loudest building in the league.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.